Hey, and we've got Mason Shierry here joining us today.
Hey.
So excited to have Mason on. Obviously, Kaitlin's husband, if you don't know.
You don't know.
So really excited to get to know him. Kaitlin's other half. I won't say better half. That's
right.
yet to be determined.
We'll let y'all be the judge.
Most of them have already decided.
Babe, I love you. That's all that matters,
I love
right?
you too.
This is going to be so much fun for me.
Yeah, that's right. She's in the middle.
I know. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so fun. So really, Mason's on here, not just because he's, we can make him kind of, but also because Mason owns MASH Oil Field Services in town, and he runs business, obviously, and just love the way that, Mason, that you lead in the community, at your business, in the church. And I want you to just share a little bit about what your faith, what does it look like for you?
Well, I was raised in a Christian home and grew up going to church all the time, and just grew to love the Lord at a young age. I became a believer at 7 years old at a Blackwood Brothers gospel concert.
That is really saved.
Small town.
You're
Graham.
super saved.
Yes, and the guy got up there, and of course he asked the question, if you died today, would you go to heaven or hell? And and it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks being in the church all the time, like. And coloring book pages and all that in Sunday school and stuff. I knew like the gospel, and I knew the typical, Bible stories and things like that. But it just, that time when he asked, it's like it hit me right between the eyes. And so, went to yanking on my mom's arm, like, hey, I'm thinking. So after the concert was over, we met with the pastor, and I accepted Christ as my Savior back at the back of the church, and the Blackwood Brothers were notified, and I received 2 free cassette tapes that I cannot listen to this day because I have no way to listen to cassette tape. But I know where they are. I saw them the other day at my parents' house. So
Earthly treasures.
Yes,
That's funny.
yes.
I didn't know that.
I was actually given a physical gift
That's
Wow.
for my
right.
salvation as well as a
Bonus.
spiritual gift.
What a great keepsake.
Yeah, so, growing up, I just, as I got older, I started to drift away from the Lord a little bit, latter years of high school, and, mainly it just, it kind of became just not the cool thing at the time.
For sure.
The church I was a part of, I was a youth minister, was awesome. That was there for a while, and kind of as I was coming up in junior high, he ended up resigning and just moving on with life. He moved away, and still know him well to this day, and our close family friends with them. But the guy that came in, he just, I don't know, he was a nice guy, but I mean, he was just kind of dorky. He didn't really make it like
Some
exciting.
pastors are really dorky.
Yeah, right. And I think it's so critical that you got like a youth pastor that like kids look up to and want to connect with, and and I don't know, it just became not the cool thing to do. So went to college and I made my own decisions then. I was a big kid then, so didn't really go to church then. I came back and kind of just began, I don't know, I always clung to my faith, but there was never any action that went with it. After about 15, 16 years old, and then I just had different life events that happen that, kind of wake up calls and things like that. Some serious car wrecks and legal problems and, just relational issues, and I mean, it just got me to the point where, I had tried everything else, and, I knew because of my raising, I knew because of my faith in Jesus, I knew where to turn to.
Yeah.
Just to get my life back on track. And, fortunately I had a friend at the time that was kind of there for me to lean on and kind of help me helped me through that phase of life. And started going to church here when it was Cross Timbers. Just like I said, time to do something different. I mean, I had tried, pretty well knowing it wasn't going to work. I had tried everything on my own, and finally it was just time. Like, I just need the Lord in my life, and so started going to church here, and reconnected with a lot of people that I had known growing up. Kaitlin's parents. Started spending a lot of time with her dad through different ministries here at the church, and then she came back from school, and we hung out a couple of times then, just with her family and some other families, doing some different ministry things. I think when she came in during there was a revival, or I think Ken Freeman deal for a week, and she came in for that, and so we spent some time together then. And of course, when I went to college, she was just freckle-faced, and she kind of looked like Pippi Longstocking.
I've heard of some of the outfits.
Yes, the outfits that she came home with, she was going for like fashion design or something like that. I don't know, at TCU. There was a big interest in that, and I quickly had to correct the fashion issues. I mean, as you can see, I have great fashion sense.
Yes.
And
you're inspiring her.
I had to. It was something that had to be done. It was getting out of hand. It was like, you're back in Graham. She quit school after spending some time with me. She quit school and decided it was worth seeing what was next for her life, and we began dating, and the rest is history. So anyway, that's kind of my faith background.
It's so similar to a lot of people's, right? I mean, grow up in church, get away from the Lord because it just hasn't become real for you, and then certainly things happen that then kind of bring you back to.
It's kind of interesting. Last week we had Adam on here, and similar story. One question was asked to the whole congregation, but it hit him, like you said, right between the eyes, and he's like, "Oh, I need to make a decision right now.
Yeah,
that's going to change everything." And I love, babe, you've talked about how your family, the way you grew up, there's a foundation that was being built, and throughout the next 15, 20 years of your life, like your circumstances changed, did things different, but you knew where to fall back to.
Yeah, and I credit, my parents a lot to that raising. Church was kind of a non-negotiable, and, we went on Sundays, and we went on Sunday nights, and we went on Wednesday nights, and I grew up singing in the kids choir and going through RAs, which is, like Boy Scouts.
Oh,
with
the RAs and GAs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so, I appreciate that. I want to still, my parents, they weren't perfect, but, probably the thing that they could have done better is that our I guess church experience was more of a, we go because that's what you're supposed to do, and there was never much of like, a serving the church mentality, and probably a lot of that was just there just weren't avenues to serve the church that we grew up in.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, every servant position within our church was more or less, like a hired staff person. Right. I mean, my parents taught a young adults Sunday school class for a few years, and that was, I guess that was a way that they served. But other than that, there just weren't many avenues to do that. So it may not be so much them as much as just the culture of the place that we attended didn't offer serving opportunities, and that really robs you as a believer of so much fulfillment in your faith. Agreed. Being able to serve the church and serve other people and take part in their faith journey by doing that. So
reflecting back on that and being just grateful for your upbringing, how does that how do you take that into your parenting now? Because you guys have two kids, boy and a girl, Savvy and Rob. So how are you taking that into the way you're raising them?
It's easy now because they're a handful, so it's like God help these children. We're bringing them through the door at every moment, like the Lion King. Help this boy right here. Stop talking back, But, as they get older, it's just, it's so critical that they see, an example through us, more so than just telling them what to do, but also that, they understand, like, we're going to, it's a non-negotiable. We're going to be there because, for me, the biggest thing in my testimony is, like, I was in a pretty bad spot there, when I had reached a crossroads, and had I not had the upbringing that I had,
yes,
who knows where my life would have ended. It probably would have wound up in, a serious substance abuse addiction, and just potential suicide. I was a mess at the time, and just for such temporary problems, that my life really could have taken a totally different trajectory if I didn't have the upbringing that I had, and just the importance of a relationship with Jesus was instilled in me at a young age.
Yeah, I think for us, it's like, I can say the same about my raising, is that we went to church every time the doors were open. And for my parents too, there was not a huge relationship with Jesus. It was like, church is just what you do because it's what you do.
Yes.
That's definitely changed over the years. But for us, I don't want to ever say we're going to church, well, it's just because it's what we do, or because you have to. Sorry, I'm telling you. No, it's like, why? Well, we get to see our friends there. We get to worship Jesus there. Like, we get to learn more about who he is. Like, Savvy, actually, yesterday, she asked me something. I can't remember. Something about the word Christian. I said, Savvy, do you know what Christian means? No. I said, well, it means you love Jesus. It means you live your life for Jesus. And she goes, oh, well, our whole family is Christian. I was like, yeah, and she made the comment, there are people that, why would anybody not want to be a Christian? So it's like, she does not understand these concepts now, but we're trying to just have the daily normal conversations with her, to where if she makes decisions later on in life that she steers away from the Lord, she knows always where to go back to, because of the why, not because she had to, but because we've taught her about the relationship aspect,
But, I think a lot too is like that she has the question, why would people not want to be Christians? Because when I was her age, I was probably still having fun, going to church and being involved in the different stuff. But there was a time, shortly thereafter. The Sunday morning message was pretty tough at her age for me to sit through. It just was. They didn't have children's church or anything like that.
Yeah, you colored on the bulletin. You fell asleep.
Yeah, it was. It was brutal to go through, and it quickly gets you to a point where you start to resent the entire morning because you're dreading this hour as a kid. So, I think I attribute a lot of that to higher age, and the culture that we have here, the people that are here, the worship, that just keeps you pulled in on a Sunday. It makes this place somewhere that you want to be. So
that's good. Well, so tell me a little bit about being a boss. You're in the oil field. Jack was on here, talked a little bit about what that's like. But kind of just tell me a little more about, how do you practically lead people that might not believe what you believe? How can you be Jesus to them without just, beating the Bible down them?
So it's tough. The oil field can make you really cynical when you deal with a lot of people that, maybe, I'll just say that maybe you care more about where their life is headed than they do, because that's what it seems like. And I'm not even talking about from a spiritual aspect, maybe just from a legal standpoint, or a parental standpoint. And so it's tough, but a lot of the guys that I work with, we started in 2014. I had worked out there since 2010 and had grown up, out there. My stepdad and his brother used to own a company that I worked for So there was a time there that I worked with several of the same guys that actually work for me now, and they knew me through a different phase of my life. They knew me through partying and having a good time, and I was young and single and made decent money and lived by myself. So and was kind of living like a heathen. So the lifestyle that I was portraying to them is a lot different than now. And so, you hear somebody say that, like, if you screw up, sometimes it takes like 1,000 attaboys to get back, in somebody's good graces. Well, I mean, that's how I had to, I had to create a track record with some of these guys.
Yeah, that's good.
Of what, who I am now. You can't just walk through the door. And I can remember being in that transition phase, just wanting so bad to be past it and able to look back, and having repaired my reputation or earned a reputation that was worth, having,
Yeah.
So I guess just consistency in your actions is so important, and it's tough. Like I said, the oil field makes you really cynical. I mean, it is an up and down business. There's times when it's really, really bad. There's times when it's really, really good, and and you're, you do it in a small town like this, and you see a lot of the people you work for. You see a lot of the people that you employ. You see a lot of people that you have employed. And it's just tough.
One thing I love about you, Mason, just what I know, the stories you've shared with Mike and I, and just that you do bring a consistency, not a perfection, but just this is who I want to be across a period of time to you. I want to represent Jesus to my employees, to the church, and you are fun. You are such a fun person, one of the most fun people I know, but you always you can tell you love being around the people that you love, your family, your friends, and I bet it's the same. Your employees would say the same about you.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. One thing that nobody can say is that when somebody comes out there to work for me, it doesn't matter what you've done, what you've been through, everybody gets a clean slate chance.
Yeah.
And that grace, if you will, is the first impression that I can give to someone that is literally a mirror image of what we've received from Jesus, what I, in my personal life, I've received from other people, as I came out of the phase I was living in into, rededicating my life to Christ. When I started dating Kaitlin, I had a breathalyzer in my pickup, and her dad... her dad had to, I don't guess he had to, but
he did.
He allowed me to date his daughter. There was some grace extended there. He had grown to know who I was, before that, and that's everybody. That's kind of what I always tell my guys, is my motto. And sometimes they see it over and over. You have guys come in that disappoint you. I bet I've employed 40 people this year that hadn't worked more than a month.
Wow.
And it's just there's about three or four positions that regularly turn over, and part of that's just the scope of work that you're doing. It's hard work, and there's a lot of people that want to try it, and they're maybe not cut out for it, or just wasn't what they expected or whatever. So, but there's a lot of it that's just people letting you down, and it's difficult to continue to offer that, that chance, to continue to extend that chance to someone after you've been let down over and over and over. For a lot of people. But for me, I just remind myself, it's perspective. It's perspective. It's a direct reflection.
That's been extended to you through Jesus, but then through Lane or through Kaitlin or through whoever your parents, and I think that's so cool because Jesus talks about how he came to bring grace and truth, and there's a reason the grace comes first, but you've got to earn the right to say the truth. And I know with you always get both. You get the grace, but you always get the truth. Right. I never have to wonder where you stand or and I've seen you do.
Kaitlin.
That's
I appreciate it. I know. I think I would love just to. I could talk about you all day long, babe, but I have worked side by side with Mason for about a year and a half, and I have never seen somebody more generous with people that really could, I mean, they just, it's so much just out of the goodness of his heart, because there's a lot of the time it's never going to come back for him to bless him. Like, it is truly Mason's, I think, I just have seen him so care about people that really just don't care about him at all. They don't care about his business. But babe, you, like, through and through, you have just been consistent, and I'm going to be generous with these people. I care about the deal with Mason, which I love, is when, you know, for every employee that you have is a family that's attached to that employee, and you are always considerate of those children and of those wives and that husband and of Sammy, who works for us, one husband. You know, but it's like that is not normal, I don't think, for a boss, but also for just the you know, we are in the oil field. It is hard, but you are just a different kind of boss because of the way you care. It's
not normal for that industry, and that's what I deal with a lot when I get experienced guys that come on. They think, you know, that there's some catch, or there's some there's no way this will last, because it's not. You know, my attitude is not rough, gruff, and like, you know,
harsh,
expendable towards these people. And, you know, and it's, you know, my right-hand guy, brought him on, and he's been, you know, a game changer for me, because he's freed up some more time for me. And, you know, and it's in turn freed up some time for him too, since we kind of co-manage things. And, you know, but, you know, he hoed his own road, you know, and he doesn't understand why I extend that grace to people, or that opportunity to people. And, you know, he's seen it now. He's been with me almost 5 years, and he's seen some of our best employees have been through that process. They have come, and they've even come on at MASH, and then, you know, done something that was, you know, questionable, or, you know, may have merited getting fired or being run off or whatever else, you know, and they were given one more chance, you know, and those are some of our best employees now.
Wow.
And he's seen that, and he's seen that pay off. And to him now, it's tough. It's still tough for both of us when, you know, two guys don't show up that you just hired yesterday that, you know, begged for a job, and then neither of them showed up today. I mean, it's like, and that's the part that starts to kind of make you a little cynical, but he knows that it's still worth it, because, you know, it just, that's usually where your best employees come from, is when they've been given something they don't deserve. And that's where I feel like, you know, not to like sing my own praise or anything, but that's why I feel like I'm a good boss in this industry, because, like, you know, I give those second chances because I've been given those second chances, and that's so critical to you know, to just any success in any industry. Really, you get that loyalty out of employees when they see that you recognize, hey, we're just humans too.
I think that's true even in the church or in your small group, in your friends. Like principle. When you extend that kind of love and grace to the people you're around, they in turn end up just producing more fruit. So, Mason, I love that you are a light in a dark place. Like, you really are. And I love hearing the stories about what you're doing with your employees, at your business, and even just with Kaitlin, obviously my best friend. But I just know how much she loves you. You're a good dad, good husband. So thank you for just coming on here.
Yes.
Finally gracing us with your presence.
Yes.
Man, I just love that consistency. What you shared about that, it's a big deal, and it's something that just most people don't do. So thank you, Mason.
You're welcome. Thank y'all for having me.
We love you.
Will you come back?
I will come back.
Okay, maybe bring Mike with you next time.
I will.
That'd be a miracle.
Just say so.
Oh.
And on that note, we'll see you next time.